Hi everybody, welcome back to today's episode of The Thread. My name is Kendall. I'm a former mentor, Parsons graduate, and former clothing brand owner. And today we're continuing with our series, what I'm calling the Foundation Series. I'm giving you all these ideas to get started on your brand today because I know how overwhelming it is to look at the big picture. So these are I call them small, but they're really, really important. Actually, they're crucial. But they're, things that you can do that don't cost any money. They just really cost your time and your energy. So today we're talking about how to identify your niche. And hopefully you watched my last video on market research. If you didn't, I'll link it down below. And be sure to watch that first because I think I'm going to be referencing that a little bit. So identifying your niche, very, very important. Right? So a niche is just a specific segment of the market that you're going into. So for example, if your market is women's wear, you want to get way more narrow than that. Let's say you hone in on doing maternity wear, you have to get more narrow. Maternity wear for who? So let's say your niche market is maternity wear for working professional moms that need to look dressed up at work. Okay? So having a niche is so important. And it's funny that our kind of impulse is to do the opposite. Like I've interviewed so many people for when I was mentoring, and some people came in with like a really specific idea, but I'd say the majority were like, I'd be like, well, what do you want to do? What's your vision? What's your idea? And they'd be like, well, I want to do women's wear. I want to do men's wear, kids wear, purses, shoes, and jewelry. And I'm like, okay, are you a millionaire? Because that's what this is going to take. And honestly, it's actually more detrimental to try to please such a huge population of people. It's really helpful when you can narrow down your focus. That way you can offer a specific type of person, a specific solution to the problem. And then you get, a loyal following much more easily that way. So if you're thinking about, well, what niche do I really want to choose? I have some questions you could ask yourself. Okay, number one is, what are the passions and talents and interests that I already have? Now, you don't have to go with something that you already know a lot about. You can certainly learn, but I think when it comes to having a brand, you really pour your heart and your soul into it, and it helps to have it be something that you're really passionate about, something that you don't mind spending hours and hours and hours on learning and increasing your knowledge and everything like that. So maybe you're passionate already about sustainable fashion. I think that's too broad of a category now. You have to narrow it down, but maybe you love sustainable fashion and you also love dyeing clothes botanically with like plants and flowers and stuff. That could be something that you could you turn into a niche product. Number two is, what do you want to be known for? I think this is a really powerful question to ask yourself, because a lot of us creatives tend to be like big picture thinkers, and we're thinking about the end result. Oh, I want this fashion empire. But what you really need to do is start small. And I think the way to do that successfully is to do something that you're going to be known for, something that you do really, really well. And it becomes kind of, let's say 20 years from now, the thing that you started with is now iconic. It's now like a collectible item. Think about Kate Spade. I use her as an example. I don't think I've ever shopped at Kate Spade. I don't think I own anything from Kate Spade, but I certainly kind of know what her brand is about. I would say she offers like feminine, classic type of dresses, jewelry, handbags, and shoes, probably a lot of other things at this point. But what is she known for? It's a thing that she started doing first, and that's her handbags, right? When she introduced these handbags, they were classic, but they kind of came in like a little bit of interesting types of colors. They weren't priced so high that they were luxury, but they were a little bit aspirational. So, even to this day, I don't know this, I have no idea, but I would bet that it still makes up like a huge chunk of their sales. And so ask yourself, what would that thing be for you? If you were to be known for one thing, if you were to get really, really good at doing something, and then later you could expand, what would that thing be? Okay, and number 3 is, what problem can I solve, right? So now, hopefully you've kind of narrowed it down on like a chunk, a segment, kind of a vague idea of a niche maybe. What exists within that niche that's like a pain point for people? What can you actually bring to the table where you can get in there and make a difference and stand out? And be sure to go back to my other episode because I talked about this more. So this is really where, your research comes in. Make sure that you're doing enough research to where you have a good lay of the land. You're becoming kind of an expert in that niche, that area. And you want your niche to be narrow, but not too narrow to where there's absolutely no demand for it. So, also, a niche doesn't have to just be related to your product, right? Maybe you don't have a groundbreaking idea for a product that no one's ever seen before. I mean, almost everything's been done, I feel like. But a niche can be coming at it from a different angle. So, here are the angles. Price is a big one, right? I've talked about Quince before. Not a big fan. Quince, you may be asking, how does a brand make it so big, assuming they are doing well, I don't know. But all they do is copy other brand styles, right? I could show you a million examples. They'll be like, oh, this is like a Jenny Kane sweater, but it's a third of the price. They're copying other brands. They have nothing unique in terms of style. But they're copying other brands. Their niche is that they undercut every single brand by a lot. So they say they're like direct to consumer. They don't have any stores. So they're able to offer things at a really, really low price. And that's their angle. So it's like for people that want luxury products, but they can't afford the price or they want something cheaper. So that's that niche, that's that category. Another angle is quality, right? So maybe you have an idea, you want to do something, some product that's very similar to what you've seen, but you're going to make it like heirloom quality. So there's a certain segment of people that are going to pay more for something much higher quality than what you normally see on the market, and vice versa. Okay, number 3 would be geographics. So imagine you live like in a small town in New Zealand or something. And when you visited America, such and such was all over the place, but you can't find a company to ship it to New Zealand, maybe a certain type of shoe or something. So you're going to start a brand in New Zealand using local factories that produces that thing that there's a demand for, but you haven't been able to find it locally. So you're going to do that. So another angle is demographic. So age, gender, that sort of thing. And I always think about Girlfriend Collective. If you haven't heard of Girlfriend Collective, they're like an activewear brand for women, and I really like them. They came on the scene about maybe 10 or 12 years ago, and they weren't really offering anything that groundbreaking in terms of style. Like I think the very first thing they did was just black yoga leggings. But number 1, they had a sustainability feature to their fabric. And number 2, and probably more importantly, was that where you'd see these brands like Lululemon on their website, like being styled with, they were always like super fit people, styled with sneakers, going to the gym. Girlfriend Collective marketed to a way different demographic. So there was much more diversity. There were many larger bodies featured, and people were often styled with like wearing their leggings with like socks and flip-flops and that sort of thing. So they were reaching out to a different population that would still like to have activewear if they were just shown like, hey, you don't have to be on your way to the gym. You don't have to be a size 2 to wear this. So I think that's a really unique and successful angle and a good example of when you don't have necessarily a groundbreaking style or product, but you can come at it from a different angle. And the last category is psychographics, which is values, interests, and attitudes. I just heard about this brand that, you know, people are spending a ton of money on their pets these days, more than ever, and it's just going up. So this company came up with a cool way you can upload your pet's picture and get them printed onto socks and things, which is really cute. So they're kind of capturing that niche market, and you know, they're doing socks, but they have a very unique spin on socks. It's like socks for people obsessed with their pets. So I'm sure they're doing really well. That sounds like a fun thing. So anyway, I hope this gave you a lot to think about. Be sure to go back and watch my last video for some tips about researching things more in depth. And just know that niches can shift and evolve over time. I mean, they always do. But setting yourself up in a marketable category with at least some unique spin on a product that you're offering will set you up with a solid foundation. So let us know in the comments below how it worked out for you. Did you find anything so surprising? Did you discover a good niche? Did a cool idea pop into your head? I would love to know. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about getting to know your customer and coming up with your ideal customer or customer avatar. So be sure to join me, and thank you so much. Be sure to like and subscribe and share, and I will see you guys really soon.